do you think that Mercedes would have been treated differently if she were white?
Yes, for sure.
Why? Why do you say
But
that?
I just think that, sometimes when you're looking at people, you relate to them based on your experience. And if it's not and I think sometimes that keeps us from being able to connect in a way. And especially with our history, I just think that that's something that we're going to continue to, I mean, you can see it. Like
Mhm.
literally, I mean, you sent me another video of another young lady, but just like the dismissiveness of the nurse. She was just clicking buttons. Literally, Mercedes was sitting there like, oh my God, like moaning and groaning. And they escorted this lady out with security. They didn't say that, but they escorted this lady out with security because they wouldn't leave.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dr. Felice, I want to throw that over to you. And for those of you that are following us along in the chat, please, I want to know your thoughts on that too. Do you think if Mercedes had walked into that hospital in the form of a white woman in active labor, that she would have received a different type of reception? And if so, why?
You know, when I saw that video, I don't know, it did something to me. And I am extremely saddened right now by seeing that. But I'm so grateful to God that that baby is safe and sound. And
Mm-hmm.
thank God for Jesus. But it's almost like, so think about it, like even with all the stuff that's going on right now with the border patrol and everything, when it is not you, people have a tendency to relate and connect to their own, especially in this country because it's so divisive. You go to other countries, people are just Cuba, you just Cuban. Whether you white Cuban or black Cuban, you just Cuban, not human. Here you have to identify with something or someone. And so because everybody's in their silos, they relate and connect with only that. And the narratives and the messages that are constantly programmed into our brains about others cause us not to see people as humans. There's really only one race, and that's the human race,
Right.
not here. And because of the programming and the messaging that we're constantly bombarded with when it comes to divisiveness and not being unified, people don't see other. Like, so think about all the people who get snatched up off the street. Why isn't there an uproar around the whole nation around the lack of humanity?
Mm-hmm.
Because of the messaging and the programming that we have been fed, that we're disconnected. We
Hmm.
don't feel the pain and the fear that other humans are experiencing right now.
Hmm.
That a baby can't go to school because their parent might come to that school and that baby's not there. How do we not feel that as another human, regardless of where they are, where they come from, because of messaging and programming? And so we have got to decide to love humanity, period.
Yes. Yes.
And it's interesting. That's interesting
Absolutely.
that you should say that because, I look at the response to from the hospital. Of course, as I understand it, the attending physician as well as the nurse were both dismissed. So the hospital is probably CYA trying to cover themselves. But that whole conversation around humanity, just basic humanity. It leads me to wonder what has happened. You guys, I don't know if you remember, but a few months ago, I shared that right here in Jackson, Mississippi, in downtown Jackson, Mississippi, in broad daylight, a lady laid in the middle of the street and gave birth.
Mm.